Welcome, dear ones who have gathered to celebrate the life and mourn the death of a wonderful person we were honored to know and love, Charlie Pekarek. As we begin, I just want to invite everyone to silence their phones so that we can be fully present to each other and to this sacred moment. I am the Reverend Eileen Wiviat. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the senior minister of this congregation, and I was lucky enough to be Charlie's minister for the last few years of his life. I was profoundly blessed to be with him and Margaret as Charlie took his last breaths and was able to witness the love and gentleness with which Margaret held his hand and told him how much she loved him and how grateful she was for his life and their life together. It is a privilege to be with all of you today as we celebrate who he was and how he made our lives and the world better. Charlie was many things to many people: a loving and enthusiastic father, a devoted and grateful husband, a loyal friend, a veteran, a social justice warrior, a musician, poet, and mentor. Though it is impossible to sum up a person's life in an hour, and we won't be able to fully express all the ways he shaped our lives, we do hope to expand the collective story of Charlie, to share our individual memories so each of us can hold a fuller picture of him. May our remembering enable us all to better carry his legacy of love, commitment, and adventurous curiosity into the rest of our lives. We gather today not only to celebrate him, but to offer comfort to those who knew and loved him best. We offer our loving support to his wife of over 20 years, Margaret, his sons, Joe and Will and David, his stepdaughter, Leah, and stepson, Spencer, all of their wonderful spouses, and the 8 grandchildren he and Margaret shared. Today, we will hear reflections from several of you who loved him and will revel in a mere fraction of the vast music library that lived in Charlie's soul. We'll hear poetry and wisdom that express the very human search for meaning and solace through the unavoidable experience of grief. May we find comfort together in these words, memories, and songs, and may they remind us of the beauty and sacredness of living. May we be assured that our lives have value and meaning beyond our presence here, and may we know that love and goodness endure. I invite Margaret and Leah up to light the flaming chalice, which is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition they shared with Charlie. And as they do so, I offer these words written by Reverend Greg Ward. If we are lucky, we will all get a chance during our life to know someone who becomes for us an exemplar of living. And if we are really lucky, we will recognize how they ended up passing on some of their goodness to us, if we are lucky. But one thing is certain: no one, not one of us, entering this world can escape the cost of living. The price we pay is this: to live in this world, we must accept that someday we will have to die. To love what is alive, we must accept having to lose what we've made precious through our care. To be fully and fiercely human, we must accept having to be breakable and sometimes broken. When we stop to notice how their life gave us a path and a little light to see by, it encourages us to help carry that light forward. Though each of us carries forth in this world a small flame, we know that the ability of that light to brighten the world depends upon the many others who learn to move with it in their hearts. We light this chalice today to honor the life and living of a truly bright light, Charlie. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing the hymn found in your hymnal. We're going to do actually the number 205 version rather than 206 as it says in your program, but you'll know it. Two of Charlie's grandchildren up, Billy and Lily Mooney, to read a poem by Alfred Grant Walton.
We make our world in which we live in, by the things we gather and what we give, by our daily deeds and the things we say, by what we keep or cast away.
We make our world by the beauty we see in a skylark's song or a lilac tree, in a butterfly's wing and the pale moon's rise, and the wonder that lingers in midnight skies.
We make our world by the life we lead, by the friends we have, by the books we read, by the pity we show in the hour of care, by the loads we lift, by the love we share.
We make our world by the goals we pursue, by the heights we seek and the higher view, by hopes and dreams that reach the sun, and a will to fight till the heights are won.
What is that place in which we dwell? A hut or a palace, a heaven or a hell?
We gather and scatter, we take and we give. We make our world, and there we live.
Precious Lord.
I didn't have long to know Charlie, but it didn't take long to recognize that to know him was to love him. I remember Charlie wearing the sweatshirt, which is sitting back at that table at church, and that named all the aspects, or some of the aspects, of his identity that he seemed most proud of. He never failed to point out that it was his son, Will, who got it for him. I wasn't sure which pleased him more, wearing all these aspects of who he was so loudly and unapologetically, or that it was his son who recognized and celebrated those things in him as well. Charlie wore his heart not just on his sleeve, but emblazoned on his chest. He was someone who cried easily, which I think is a beautiful trait. And his tears seemed to be mostly tears of gratitude and love, never bitterness. When I met with Margaret and Joe, Kelly, and Leah to plan the service, one of them said, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was you, Margaret, he specialized in happiness. And what a perfect way to describe him. He was open-hearted and curious. He told me about visiting Joe's classroom almost every time I visited him, and how Joe baked bread with his students. That was Charlie's mother's recipe. He exuded pride in all his kids and grandkids. He repeated over and over how grateful and lucky he felt to have found Margaret, how each day was a gift with her. When I'd visit, he showed me the book he and Margaret were working on to capture some of his stories, his thoughts and wishes as he died. He told me the songs that meant the most to him and that he wanted at this memorial. We sang some of them together, tearfully. He moved through the process of dying with courage and honesty and love. Charlie wanted people to feel seen and heard. He wanted everyone he loved to know how grateful he was for them. In a reflection that he wrote as part of a project collecting veterans' stories, Charlie wrote about the car accident he survived as a young man, which impacted the rest of his life. He wrote, in that moment, I truly believed I was going to die, and I remember seeing visions of my loved ones saying goodbye. That experience changed me forever. It made me vow to treat every day as a gift. And Charlie did treat every day as a gift, and he treated every person who crossed his path as a gift with kindness and generosity. At kinship time, he would often ask to be wheeled to the table where someone might be sitting alone. He wanted to reach out to those who others might look past. At his core, he was radically hospitable. Knowing Charlie has changed me, as I know it has changed all of you. We will all miss him, and we will carry him with us in the ways we interact with the world, make music, care for one another, and act for justice for those who are most vulnerable. His son, David, wrote a beautiful reflection about his dad, and though he's not able to be here today, David agreed to let me read it to you. Afterwards, I'll welcome reflections from Jeannie McCullough, who was Charlie's hospice caregiver, Barbara Sanders, a dear friend whom they met in Ann Arbor, and a fellow poet, and finally from his son, Joe. These are David's words. In my earliest memories of my father, I see him as my own superhero, super strong, super smart, super capable. He would build enormous snow forts, wrangle our dogs that could easily overpower me, and he would crack the most confusing riddles and homework problems. I was also fortunate the superhero took a side gig as my rec soccer coach. Beyond his powers, this hero took the time to be super reassuring and super affectionate. When I was unsure or hurt, he told me it would be okay, and pretty much all of the time he told me that he loved me and was proud of me. As I grew into my teenage years, I began realizing more details regarding my dad's personality and tastes, and increasingly I thought they were weird. He loved foreign films, obscure poetry, exotic foods, jazz, and experimental rock. I'd look at my friends' fathers and then look at mine, wondering why I ended up with the one who was so different. Sometimes I even wondered aloud to him. My pushes for space and independence had no effect on his unwavering support. He was on the sidelines of every soccer game, yelling his heart out, attended every band concert, and we never played any Frank Zappa. And he sat through every diving meet. And in any moments where my teenage universe was crumbling, he patiently assured me it would be okay. And pretty much all the time he told me he loved me and was proud of me. As I began to tackle college, Dad found a new chapter of life with Margaret. I saw his capacity for love grow even deeper, and witnessing their affection, their common interests and shared faith, and their joint dedication to our modern family has been a gift. Also, I made more friends in college and beyond and heard stories of distant or stoic fathers. I realized how blessed I was. Stories of parents who didn't joke or play with their kids, didn't hug their kids or ever say I love you made no sense to me. I gained a huge appreciation that I was blessed with a father who always let me know it would be okay and always told me he loved me and was proud of me. Since Christina and I started our own family, I have been the son living the furthest away. Finding time for my kids to visit their grandparents has been limited but precious. On the visits we have had, I saw that my dad's heart for children hadn't aged a day. If the kids were full of stories, he was an intent, captivated listener. If they were shy, he would simply fill the room with a ukulele tune. And it swelled my heart to see him tell Rowan and Nara all the time that he loved them and was proud of them. That brings me to these last 2 years as Dad faced his cancer diagnosis in a very Charlie Pekarek move. He didn't lament his situation, he studied it. He bought an enormous book about cancer and approached his illness with the same curiosity he always showed for life. Along with his studying, he remained very much himself. He told stories, wrote poems, sang songs, and made those around him smile. He told us he didn't want to go, but also, as he had his whole life, he told us it would be okay, and that he loved us and was proud of us. Time affects change in everyone. My dad changed through the years. I have changed, and our relationship changed. What I admire in my father most, though, was his consistency among this change, his honesty, openness, love, and pride. And when his time came, there were no missed opportunities or unshared feelings. As best as I can, I will honor him and aspire to that as well.
Thank you for the opportunity. When Charlie became a hospice client, I was fortunate enough to be assigned to him as his support volunteer. I'd known him anyway, through the covenant group that we had met in, and so it wasn't a new thing, but getting to know Charlie and Margaret, because they were always together, during the last, however long it was that I was visiting, was so precious. There are so many times when I'd say, "How are you, Charlie?" He'd say, "I'm dying, but I'm happy." And one time, the best memory that I have is Charlie was staying intermittently at a care facility, and I walked in and I didn't see anybody, and I went around the corner of the curtain, and he and Margaret are in bed, arm in arm. And I said, "So how are you guys doing?" He says, "I'm dying, but I'm happy." So the most grateful man for everything in the world, such an inspiration. I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful still to be a member of their family. Thank you.
When Margaret asked me to read some poems for Charlie's service, I was very honored, but honestly, my first reaction was, "Are you sure Charlie wants me to read some poems at his service?" And she assured me that he definitely did, and reminding me that, Charlie was a poet at his heart, and that he often wrote poems to express his emotions and his feelings about life. So I'm happy to share a few poems to honor that part of Charlie. The first one that I'm going to read is about a woman that I had the honor of caring for near the end of her life, and she was born in the 19th century. So this was a few years ago that I knew her, but she had many stories to tell, and when I think about her, it always reminds me of the stories that we all carry in our lives and how much they mean to us. "If you write me a poem," she says, "make it one with flowers in it. So here they are, sunflowers and daffodils and periwinkles and daisies. Sunflowers that grew up in the rows of the cotton fields that she picked for the mill that she wove the cloth in. For the cotton, she says she'd rather be picking than dyeing, 'cause dying's the harder work than cotton picking. That she always thought was the hardest. And a surprise of daffodils for the 8 kids she raised and the one that was killed by the train and lingered for a day hemorrhaging. And the mother that was hit by a streetcar, and periwinkles for the pretty baby, the prettiest blue-eyed baby she ever had, that grew up and went through so much. And daisies for the cow she brought in from the pasture every night, and the boy she met there just back from the war, the one saying, 'How about we get married?' And she saying, 'You kidding?' And she was only 12. And he came in the night, and she slept in her clothes and crawled out the window. And his brother drove the buckboard, and they got married, and then the 8 kids, the first starting when she was 14, and the last when she was 40. And how in the end, all the stories washed away to nothing but love, pure, white, dazzling, like the blinding sun on a field of flowers." And this one I picked out because it reminded me of Charlie's love for knowledge and the seeking of knowledge and the exploring of ideas. What I did not see in the fog. The fog, the one we remember from sophomore English with Clara Brown, whose breath was so bad that nobody would sit on the front row. That fog is tiptoeing in on those little cat feet, and we walk to the cliffs to see the cloud creep in on its silent paws. Ever so stealthily, it covers up and over what's there. All sea creatures, dogs, walkers of dogs, skateboarders, surfers, shapers of sand sculptures, the man on the beach playing greensleeves on his recorder, the one in the van toking on a water pipe. The mist settles over us all. And from Lighthouse Point, the moaning of the foghorn pointing out that even though I can't see it, doesn't mean it isn't there. And then you say, did I know that, like Canadians, pelicans will fly in a V, and when they do, time the dip of wings one to the other, so all flap in perfect synchronicity. And at night, before we fall asleep, I bury my face in your hair, and the curly smell of the sea clings there still. And I hear through fog and darkness from Seal Rock, more than a mile away, the bark, bark, barking of sea lions, reminding me one more time that what I can't see is still there. And then this last one is called How We Came Together. And it has, I know it's Charlie's favorite because it has math in it, and that I read it at his wedding to Margaret. So there was a bowl of red tulips on the table, blue bowl on an oak table, embraced in a pink shaft of setting sun. And I thought, you are the stem to my blossom, stem to my blossom, twig to my trembling leaf, honey to my suckle, hypotenuse to my isosceles, chew to my Tootsie Roll. And I am the nebula to your planet, furrow to your ridge, fractal to your geometry, ribbons to your maypole, hum to your kazoo. Is there no end to this thing called love?
Good morning. Welcome all. It's good to see you all here, especially those of you who are doing this back-to-back weekends. My dad was loved by a lot of people. I'd especially like to thank all of the travelers, those who came from Ohio, like my Aunt Kathy and her group. I'd like to thank Clark for bringing his parents, Spencer and Mallory, and I'd like to thank Billy and Lily for bringing their parents from very close by. A quick story to start. When I was young, my family went to the dedication of a wing to the local library. And at this dedication, they were talking about the benefactor who had given so many funds to help it happen. They're saying many great things about this person, so much so that my cousin, about 3 at the time, said audibly for all to hear, "Mommy, are they talking about Jesus?" My dad really liked that story for many reasons. First, he loved humor, especially in its natural state. Next, I think he enjoyed things that are out of the norm, different, odd, or strange, as he usually was. But most of all, my dad had a uniquely impassioned appreciation for the truth. My cousin was probably echoing some of the truthful thoughts that my dad was having about what was being said that day. So, Dad, wherever you are right now, my intent here today in front of all in the audience is to be truthful about who you were and what you were. May no person here today be confused. I am not talking about Jesus or any other saint. I'm here to reflect upon the life of a dynamic and complex man, a man with an unquestionably huge heart, who will always be my favorite diabetic Air Force veteran amputee with Parkinson's disease, even if he is likely the only diabetic Air Force veteran amputee with Parkinson's disease that I ever meet. My dad, Charlie, was not one to mask his feelings. He was also not the best secret keeper. You could say that he was an open book or simply not shy. Speaking of not shy, when I was in high school, I knocked on his bedroom door, and he said, "Please come in." I found him there in his birthday suit. I said, "Dad." He said, "What?" I said, "You're not dressed." I said, "Son, we all have bodies." I said, "Dad, I'll talk to you later." He certainly wasn't afraid to have feelings or share feelings. One of my favorite examples is that after dating Margaret for a short time, he quickly fell in love and he was ready for the whole shebang. He had not even met her children yet. And I'm not sure what the plan was to go along with pancakes that he made to meet Spencer and Leah. But very early in the meeting, he started crying, he became a ball of emotion, and he shared with his future stepchildren that he wanted to marry their mother and that he wanted to spend his life with her, just the way he was. I can only imagine what Spencer and Leah were thinking on that morning while that very large sack of emotional tears put his heart out on the line for them. But it's exactly how things worked out. Margaret eventually came to feel the same as my dad, and we're all very thankful for that. They spent the next 20 plus years together, sharing their lives and their love and experiences, and we're all the better for it. But that brings us to the last 2 years, which became a monumental challenge. The last 2 years have been so many things. When I first discussed the news with Dad that he had cancer, that it had spread, and that it was not a question of whether he would beat it, it was just a question of how long he would live and with what quality of life, we cried and we laughed together. For years prior to this, he was known to say, you know, I won't be around forever, everyone dies someday, but I didn't realize until that day that he was preparing me and all of us for that moment. Through those tears and laughs, I told him, well, now you can say it for real, because it had become very real. Through all of his illness, we were very fortunate that he rarely lost his mental faculties, at least not any more or less than he did throughout his life. Sorry, Dad, but I'm not talking about Jesus. We were fortunate that his medical care was excellent until the end, when Margaret was by his side and he took his last breath. We were fortunate that Dad was brave. The word that he would want me to use is stoic. Dad, you were very stoic. But he was so much more than these last 2 years. I am a second grade teacher, and as mentioned before, he has been to my classroom a few times, but he's with me every day in spirit. I read my students books that he read to me. Shout out to the Twits. I play them songs that he used to play to me. Shout out to The Wall Part 2, which ironically says, teacher, leave those kids alone. And now I'm a teacher. I encourage my students to embrace their differences and to be themselves as my dad taught me. And I try to make them feel as loved and cared for as he made me feel. That includes with words. I tell my students I love them, the way a teacher should love their students. My dad made sure the people he loved knew it. He told us all the time. He also backed up his words with action. He did a lot of things to show his love, whether you wanted him to or not. When my youth soccer teams and my brother's youth soccer teams would score a goal, he would howl until our family dog would howl along with him. My teammates would say, "Isn't that your dad?" And I would say, "I don't know that guy." He coached several of our sports teams. He taught us chess. He played chess with us. He helped us with our homework, and he encouraged us to be no one but ourselves. He also taught kindness and love for others. I watched my father give a stranger the Heimlich maneuver in a restaurant bathroom when I was young, maybe 4 or 5 years old. The man's face was purple and red when he walked in. I was scared. Dad knew what to do. He just grabbed him, and out flew the food. My dad also picked up a hitchhiker when I was young. And I remember moving to the back of the car and being quite scared. My dad talked to him for the 10 minutes that we gave him a ride. And when I hopped back up front and I wasn't scared anymore, Dad explained to me that when he was younger, very kind people would pick him up and give him a ride. And now it was his turn to pay back the kindness that had been shown to him. My dad also taught my brothers and I to save our allowance before the holidays so we could buy gifts for our family members. A lot of those recipients are in the room today. Even extended family would get a small token of our love from Perry Drugstore, be it a magazine, some candy, or some hairpins. And that has really stuck with me all of these years. As I've missed my father since his passing, these last couple months, I do a lot of self-talk, and I try to remember all the gratitude to help through the grief. Not everyone has their dad until they're 49 years old. I got to spend so much of these last years with him since he and Margaret moved to Chicago. Dad got to come to Kelly and my wedding this last September, which is very special. And it all helps. But what is most important is knowing that Dad loves me and all of you. I feel that love. I share that love every day. And for that, I'm most thankful. So, Dad, I know you know it, but you taught me to say it. I love you.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, memory to memory, story to story, blessing to blessing, strength to strength, gratitude to gratitude, spirit to spirit, love to love. The wheel turns ever, and what came out of the earth returns to it now in peace. To our hearts remembering, we commit Charlie's spirit. There we shall hold our loving memories of him. We commit to telling and retelling his stories, singing his songs, expressing gratitude, and relishing each day of life. Source of love, we are blessed by this time to remember and celebrate Charlie Pekarek. He touched the lives of many, and his impact will remain. Let us hold one another through grief so that we may continue to love boldly, even as we reckon with loss. May we remain open to every experience with joy and reverence, as Charlie did, for that is how we honor him most faithfully. If there be any words unsaid or forgivenesses withheld, may we find a way to release our regrets, forgive ourselves in him, and return to peace with him now and always. With the memory of Charlie on our hearts, we take a moment to send our blessings and gratitude to him in silence. We give thanks for the life of Charlie. We give thanks that our lives intersected with his. We give thanks for his humor, big-heartedness, curiosity, courage, and exuberance. In all that he was and gave, he brought every corner of the world he touched joy and meaning. Let us remember that the truth of his life endures, for it is woven into the fabric of the larger life of which we and Charlie are all a part. Mindful of our own mortality and the gift that life is, may we here and now resolve to live a little more closely to our values, to care a little more deeply for others, to risk a little more often. And on this day, may we tell someone very clearly that they are valued, that they are loved, that we're proud of them. That is what we can do to honor Charlie. As Margaret and Leah come forward to extinguish the chalice, I'll read the words of one of Charlie's favorite songs by Pete Seeger, "To My Old Brown Earth," and they are in your program if you want to read along. To my old brown earth and to my old blue sky, I will now give these last few molecules of I. And you who sing and you who stand nearby, I do charge you not to cry. Guard well our human chain. Watch while you keep it strong, as long as sun will shine, and this our home. To keep pure and sweet and green, for now I'm yours and you are also mine. We'll close by singing another of Charlie's favorite hymns, number 159, "This Is My Song," and please rise in body or spirit. us go with gratitude and love to share the blessings of community and kinship. You're invited to join Charlie's family at the back of the sanctuary for a reception and to keep sharing with one another your fond memories. We'll have the slideshow of his life on the screen, and we'll even play his created playlist. So stick around for that. Thank you for being here and for blessing Charlie.